Okay, today's video is Standard Mastery Assessment number 12, and it's going to cover what a box and whisker plot is. And this is more of just understanding what a box and whisker plot is, and we're actually going to make one to help build that understanding. And we're going to make one using the airplane data that we collected from our trial throws. So you can see here is my data table, and what we're going to do is we're going to use a box and whisker plot to pretty much analyze each of the throws and kind of gain an understanding of how far our plane really went. So as you can see, I threw the plane 5 times. You threw yours a different amount, but each time I threw it at the same height. However, there were several different distances that I got. And when you're looking at these, you see right away that 3 of the distances, like 5.8, 4.9, 5.4, are roughly close to each other. And then I've got a distance where it didn't go very far, and then I got another trial where it went very far. So I've got some consistent distant data points, and I've got some outliers, and the box and whisker plot is a great way of trying putting them all together and kind of analyzing them. So the box and whisker that we're going to make will be based on our glide ratio. So we're using this column, and what we're going to do is we're going to make something that looks like this. So here's our box, and then these are the whiskers. So how do we make the box? Let's start there. So we're going to create the box. And the first thing that you're going to do when you create the box is you're just going to take the data points that you have. So I've got 5, and you're going to list them from least to greatest. So the least here would be 0.66. The next one would be 0.98. And then 1.08, 1.16. And you should be doing these with yours, 1.46. So I've got 5. And after I list them from least to greatest, I'm going to locate the median. And the median is the central data point or the middle number. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the middle one would be 3. 1, 2, 3. This is the middle one of my data set. So I'm going to make this Q2. And this is just a mathematical symbol that they use in box and whisker plots. So this is my Q2, or my median of my entire set. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to locate the median of the lower half. So here's my lower half right here, these 2 points. And because there's only 2, there's no middle number. And you'll find that when you have an even amount, what you have to do is you have to add them up and average them. So you average up the 2 middle ones. Since there's only 2, these are the 2 that we'll add. So let's do that right now in the calculator. So here I have the calculator right here, and I'm going to add the 2 numbers together. So 0.66, whoops, too many, 0.66 plus 0.98 equals, now I've got this number. Now to get the average, I'm going to divide by 2, and the average is 0.82. And we can call this Q1. This is the lower quartile. Now we're going to do the same exact thing for the second half. So this second half over here, we're going to average these two too, because I only have an even amount, so there's no real clear middle. So we're going to use the calculator again. So I'm going to clear it here. I'm going to add them together. 1.16 plus 1.46 equals, divide by 2 to find the average, and our average is 1.31. So we know that the average of these is 1.31. And we're going to call this Q3. And this is the box part of our box and whisker. So we know that Q2 is 1.08. We know that our first median number for our first quartile or our lower quartile is 0.82. And then the median number for the greater quartile or the upper quartile is 1.31. Now what we have to do is create the whiskers. And this is the easy part. All we need to do is locate the least data point. So here's our data points, and our least data point is this data point right here. And we have to locate the greatest data point. Well, if we're looking at our data set, this is the greatest data point. So I know that the whiskers are going to be 0.66 and 1.46. So the final thing that we need to do is define the number line scale and plot the points. Well, the scale is pretty much based on the numbers that you have in your data set. So you can see here that the data set is kind of increasing by not tenths but hundredths. So as I make this scale, I want to make sure I've got some ticks that represent increases by hundredths. So here's my scale, and you're using a straight edge, hopefully, because you want to make an accurate one that is nice. And then you want to make sure that it's even distance throughout. I'm doing mine freehand, so it's not going to be as accurate as yours. So we'll go ahead and start our scale at 0.5. And then we'll probably, this is 1.46, so we'll end our scale at about 1.5. And I want to increase by 0.05. So 0.05, that would be 6, 0.6, 0.65, 7, 7.75, 8, 8.5, 9, 9.5, 1. So this would be 1.0. This would be 0.5. This would be 0.5. This would be 1.1, 1.15, 1.2, 1.25, 1.3, 1.35, 1.4, 1.45, and then this would actually be 1.5. So let's go ahead and, let's go ahead and make this 1.5 right here. So here I have my line, and I'm going to try to draw it again. Okay, almost through. So I have my line, and we've got good increases, right? And so I'm going to go ahead and plot my lowest point, which we identified as 0.66. So here's 0.5. So this would be 5.5. This would be 0.6. This would be 0.65. So 0.66 would be somewhere in between, probably a little bit closer to 0.65. So I'm going to go ahead and plot it right here. So here's my whisker to my box, right? I'm going to go ahead and plot my other endpoint. It's going to be very, very close to 1.6. So we know that this is 1.45. So 1.6 would probably be somewhere right here. So we're going to go ahead and make the whisker right here. So we have our two whiskers. And now we're going to plot the median, Q2. And Q2 is 1.08. So we know this is 1. We know that this is 1.05. This is 1.1, so it's a little bit closer to 1.1. So we'll make that point about right here. Now the first quartile was the 0.82. So here's 1, here's 9.5, 9. This would be 8.5, this would be 8. So it's a little bigger than 8, but it's closer to 8 than it is 8.5. So maybe like around right here. And then our last one is our upper quartile, and the average was 1.31. So we know that this is 1, we know this is 5, this is 4.5, this is 4, 3.5, this is 3. So it's a little bit bigger than 1.30, so it's 1.31 is probably about right here. And now we're go ahead and box up our box and draw the whiskers to connect it. Good. So hopefully your graph is a lot better than mine, but the huge takeaway here is you have your lowest value, which is right here. It's your min. You've got your max. You've got your central point. You've got the central point of the first half, and you've got the central point of the second half. Hopefully you are using a ruler as you go through this. Can't wait to see what you come up with.